Protect your peace. You owe no one unlimited access to your life. Your peace is your home. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Peace is not the absence of noise, it's the mastery of what you let in. Life is full of competing voices, responsibilities, and distractions. Every day, someone or something will try to rent space in your mind for free. And if you don't set boundaries, you'll be evicted from your own inner home. When you protect your peace, you're not being selfish, you're being wise. You're saying, I refuse to hand my mental, emotional, and spiritual health over to chaos. We live in a world where people expect instant replies, constant availability, and unlimited access to your time and emotions. But here's the truth. Just because someone wants access to you doesn't mean they deserve it. Your peace is the foundation of your decisions, your health, and your joy. Without it, you become reactive instead of proactive. You lose control of your life. In this chapter, I'm going to walk you through a 9-part journey on how to protect your peace ruthlessly, not politely, not occasionally, but daily and unapologetically. By the end, you'll have the mental armor to guard your inner world like a fortress. The cost of a leaky boundary. I want you to think of your peace as a full glass of clean water. When you wake up in the morning, after a good rest, that glass is full. It has everything you need to stay strong and balanced for the day ahead. But the moment you step into the world, little holes start appearing in that glass, and before you know it, your peace starts leaking away. It doesn't always happen through big dramatic events. Most of the time, it's a slow and quiet drain. You wake up and check your phone, and there's a message from someone who only calls to complain, and a little water slips out. On your way to work, someone cuts you off in traffic. You replay the moment in your head for the next 15 minutes, and more water spills out. At work, you agree to take on a task you don't have the energy for because you don't want to disappoint anyone, and that's a bigger leak. By the time you get home at night, you feel drained, irritated, and too tired to enjoy the things you love, and it's not because the day was long, but because you've been giving away your peace drip by drip without realizing it. The most dangerous thing about losing your peace is that it rarely disappears all at once. It is stolen in small, unnoticed ways. A slow erosion through compromises you didn't need to make, conversations you didn't have to entertain, and people you didn't have to let that close. You think saying yes just this once is harmless, but when it becomes a habit, it teaches others that they can step over your boundaries without asking. And once people learn that, they stop asking altogether. They just take. I've seen it happen to so many people, and one of them was Sarah. Sarah was one of those people everybody loved because she was the dependable one. If you needed help, Sarah was there. If you had a problem, Sarah would listen for hours. If you had a task to do, Sarah would take it on, even if she was already exhausted. She thought she was just being kind and helpful. But over time, something in her started to change. She noticed she was constantly tense, quick to get irritated, and avoiding phone calls from certain friends because she knew they would leave her feeling drained. She started skipping family gatherings because she had nothing left to give. Her peace had not been snatched in one sudden moment. It had been drained quietly, little by little, every time she silenced her needs to keep others happy. The truth is, living with leaky boundaries comes with a heavy price. You don't just lose energy, you lose clarity. Your decision-making suffers because you are constantly reacting instead of thinking. Your emotions become unstable because you're carrying more than you can handle. Your relationships become filled with resentment because you're giving more than you receive. Even your health pays the price. As stress takes over your body, your sleep gets worse, and your immunity drops. Peace is not just a feeling. It's the mental and emotional environment you need to function at your best. Without it, you're walking through life tired, vulnerable, and less effective. You have to stop and ask yourself one hard question: who or what is drinking from my glass without my permission? It could be that one friend who talks for hours about themselves without ever asking how you are. It could be that family member who guilt trips you into doing things you don't want to do. It could be the workplace emergency that isn't really urgent but is dumped on you because you never say no. And once you identify these leaks, you have to be willing to close them, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. People will push back. They will be annoyed, but eventually, they will learn to respect the boundaries you set. Here's the truth you need to hold on to. Every time you say yes to something that steals your peace, you are saying no to something that could build it. You can't be everywhere, help everyone, or solve every problem, but you can guard the space, time, and energy you need for your health, your dreams, and the relationships that truly matter. Your life is not a public park where anyone can walk in at any time. It is a private garden, and only those who respect it, nurture it, and bring life to it should be allowed in. When you stop letting just anyone in, you'll see the flowers bloom again, the weeds disappear, and your spirit finally breathe again. For the next week, pay close attention to every yes you give. Before you say it, pause and ask yourself if it will bring you peace or take it away. Ask if you are agreeing because you genuinely want to or because you are afraid to say no. Ask if saying yes now will leave you regretting it later. You might be shocked at how many of your automatic yeses have been quietly stealing from you. This is where protecting your peace begins, not casually, not someday, but now, and not gently, but ruthlessly, saying no without guilt. One of the biggest reasons people lose their peace is because they are afraid to say no. They know they are tired, they know they don't have the time, they know they are already stretched too thin, but when someone asks them for something, the word yes comes out before they even think. And most of the time, it's not because they truly want to say yes. It's because they are scared of how saying no will make them look. Somewhere deep down, they are afraid of being judged, misunderstood, or labeled as selfish. They are afraid people will think they don't care. They are afraid that if they set a boundary, they will lose relationships or disappoint someone they love. So they keep saying yes until they are resentful, burned out, and silently drowning in obligations they never wanted in the first place. The truth is, guilt is one of the most powerful tools people use to keep you accessible at all times. Sometimes it's intentional. Some people know exactly how to make you feel bad for refusing them. Other times it's not intentional, but it's still damaging because you've been conditioned to equate helping with being good and saying no with being bad. This conditioning often starts in childhood. Maybe you were praised for being the helpful one, the reliable one, the one who always put others first. And because of that praise, you learn to ignore your own needs. The problem is that this habit, which might have seemed like kindness when you were young, becomes a prison when you're an adult. Every time you agree to something out of guilt, you're teaching people that guilt works on you. You're training them to come back with more demands, more expectations, and more emotional pressure. The more you comply, the more they will push, and before you know it, you're trapped in a cycle where you are constantly overcommitted and constantly drained. Many of the people you're trying so hard to please won't even appreciate it. Some won't notice, and others will start to believe they are entitled to your time and energy. You have to understand that saying no does not make you a bad person. Saying no makes you honest. It makes you someone who values your own limits. It makes you someone who understands that your peace has a price and that not everything is worth paying for. Every yes has a cost. It costs you time, it costs you energy, it costs you focus, and sometimes it costs you your mental health. The question is what you're agreeing to worth that cost? The shift you need to make is to see saying no not as an act of rejection, but as an act of protection. You are not rejecting the person. You are protecting your energy so you can show up fully when it truly matters. If you keep pouring yourself out for everything and everyone, when something really important comes along, you will have nothing left to give. That's why you must start thinking of your energy as a budget. You wouldn't spend all your money on things you don't really need just to keep people happy. So why do it with your time and mental strength? At first, saying no will feel uncomfortable, especially if you've been the person who always says yes. People will be surprised, some might be disappointed, and a few might even get upset. But the ones who truly respect you will adjust. They will learn that your time is valuable and that you are not someone who can be guilted into constant overextension. And those who can't accept your no, They are not people who care about your well-being. They are people who care about their access to you. That's a hard truth, but it's one that will save you a lot of pain. It helps to practice saying no in ways that are clear but not cruel. You don't have to over-explain. In fact, over-explaining can invite people to argue with your reasons. You can simply say, "I can't take that on right now," or "That doesn't work for me," or "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm not available." These phrases are short, respectful, and final. You are not obligated to give a full breakdown of your schedule or a long story about why you're declining. Another important point is to stop apologizing for saying no. You haven't done anything wrong. You don't need to start every refusal with, "I'm sorry." You can be polite, but you can also be firm. The more you practice this, the more natural it will feel. And eventually, you'll find that the guilt begins to fade. When you start saying no without guilt, something amazing happens. Your yes becomes more powerful. Because now, when you say yes, it's genuine. It's not forced. It's not coming from a place of fear or obligation. It's coming from a place of choice. And that choice carries weight because it comes from someone who respects their own time and energy. Protecting your peace means recognizing that you can't be everything for everyone. You have a limited amount of energy, and you must spend it wisely. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you are saying yes to your own well-being, your own goals, and your own happiness. And that is not selfish, that is necessary. The emotional bouncers at your mental door. I want you to picture your mind as an exclusive, high-end club. Not everyone gets in. There's a velvet rope at the entrance, a list of approved guests, and a bouncer who decides who enters and who gets turned away. Inside that club, the atmosphere is calm, safe, and full of the kind of people who add value to your experience. Outside, there's noise, chaos, and strangers who don't belong. In your life, your peace depends on you being that bouncer for your own mind. But here's the problem. Too many people leave the door wide open and let anyone walk in. It doesn't matter if they're muddy, loud, aggressive, or draining. They just stroll in and dump their negativity right in the middle of your mental space. Some people you let in because you feel you have to. Their family, their old friends, their co-workers you see every day. Others you let in because you haven't stopped to think about whether they should have that kind of access to you. But once they're inside, they take up space. They influence your mood, your focus, your energy. And before you know it, you can't even hear your own thoughts over the noise they've brought with them. The truth is, not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. Some people should be in the balcony. Some should be outside the building altogether. Yet many of us hand out VIP passes without thinking, and we do it at the expense of our mental well-being. The people you allow to occupy your mind will shape how you think, how you feel, and even how you see yourself. If you keep letting in complainers, gossipers, manipulators, and constant crisis makers, you'll start to absorb their energy. You'll start to carry problems that aren't yours. You'll start feeling stressed about situations you have no power to fix. This is why you have to start thinking like a bouncer. A good bouncer doesn't just let anyone through because they smile. They check the list. They see if the person fits the environment. If they're known troublemakers, they're not getting in. And here's the part people forget. Being the bouncer doesn't make you mean. It makes you responsible. You're protecting the atmosphere inside, and in your life, that atmosphere is your peace. Every interaction is an exchange of energy. Some people leave you lighter, happier, more hopeful. Others leave you heavier, drained, and anxious. You need to start noticing the difference. Pay attention to how you feel after talking to certain people. Do you feel inspired and motivated? Or do you feel like you've just run an emotional marathon? If it's the latter, you have to ask yourself why you're letting them so close. It's not about cutting off everyone who's going through a hard time. Life is hard, and we all need support sometimes. But there's a difference between helping someone through a season of struggle and letting someone permanently live inside your head, rent-free, while bringing chaos with them every single day. Being your own mental bouncer means having a filter. Before you let a conversation into your mind, you ask, is this worth my energy? Before you let someone's opinion influence you, you ask, does this person live a life I'd want to model? Before you accept someone's request for your time, you ask, will this leave me feeling fulfilled or drained? If the answer is negative, the door stays shut. You might be wondering what this looks like in real life. It could mean ending phone calls when the conversation turns into constant complaining. It could mean stepping away from group chats that are filled with gossip and negativity. It could mean telling a coworker, I'm not able to discuss this right now, instead of letting them unload on you every morning. And yes, it could mean creating distance from people you care about if their presence in your life is consistently toxic. Some will accuse you of being distant or cold, but those who truly respect you will understand that you're not shutting them out. You're protecting what's inside. You're making sure that the space in your mind is reserved for things and people that build you up, not break you down. When you don't have a mental bouncer, you live in constant reaction mode. Anyone's bad day can become your bad day. Any stranger's comment can derail your mood. Any piece of bad news can send you spiraling. But when you take control of the door, you get to decide what enters. You get to choose which voices get amplified and which ones get turned away. You get to create an environment where your thoughts can breathe, your emotions can settle, and your peace can thrive. You owe it to yourself to be ruthless with this. Just like a real club can be ruined by one unruly guest, your peace can be wrecked by one person who consistently brings drama. It's better to risk offending someone than to live in constant mental chaos. Protect your mind like it's the most valuable property you own, because it is. Everything you are, everything you will ever create, and every decision you make flows from what's going on inside your head. If the inside is polluted, your life will be too. So from this moment on, decide that not everyone gets in. Decide that your mental space is sacred. Decide that you will guard it with the same intensity that a bouncer guards the door. Because when you start controlling who and what enters your mind, you don't just protect your peace, you protect your future. Digital boundaries in an always-on world. We live in a time where your peace can be stolen before you even get out of bed. All it takes is one notification, one breaking news alert, one social media post, and your mood can shift instantly. The digital world has made it possible for people to have access to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and most of us have accepted that access without questioning what it's costing us. Your phone rings, and you answer. A message comes in, and you read it instantly. A notification pops up, and you check it before you even finish what you were doing. Slowly, without realizing it, you've trained your brain to never rest. Your peace is constantly interrupted. Your attention is constantly pulled. And your emotions are constantly reacting to things you never even went looking for. The problem with being always connected is that it leaves no space for you to simply be. The moment you wake up, you're in the middle of a flood of information, opinions, problems, and updates from people you may not even know personally. Your mind is processing more in the first hour of the day than it used to in an entire morning 20 years ago. And yet, we call this progress. We call it staying informed. But the truth is, being plugged in all the time is keeping you restless. It's training your nervous system to expect constant stimulation. And when there is no noise, your brain doesn't know how to relax anymore. Think about how often you reach for your phone without even realizing it. You tell yourself you're just going to check the time, and before you know it, you're 30 minutes deep into scrolling through other people's lives, comparing yourself, reacting to headlines, or reading arguments in comment sections. And when you finally put the phone down, you feel more drained than before. That's because you just gave away mental energy to things that didn't need your attention in the first place. Every scroll, every click, every unnecessary message, it's a little leak in your peace. One of the most powerful things you can do for your peace is to set digital boundaries. That means deciding that you control your phone, your apps, your inbox. They don't control you. It means creating times in your day where you are unreachable. Not because you're ignoring people, but because you're protecting your focus and your mental space. You don't have to reply to every message instantly. You don't have to know about every news story the moment it happens. You don't have to be available online from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep. Digital boundaries can start with something as simple as turning off non-essential notifications. Do you really need to know every time someone likes a post you made? Do you really need a buzz on your phone for every group chat message? Especially the ones that have nothing to do with you? Every notification is a little tap on your shoulder saying, "Pay attention to me now." And if you answer every single one, you'll never have a moment of uninterrupted thought. Another powerful boundary is creating digital quiet hours. This could mean no phone use for the first hour after you wake up, so you start your day grounded instead of reactive. It could mean putting your phone away an hour before bed, so your mind can wind down. It could mean setting aside a block of time during the day where you check messages and social media instead of checking them every 5 minutes. The goal is not to cut yourself off from the world, but to take back control over when and how you engage with it. Social media, especially, is a place where peace can be stolen without you realizing it. You log in to post something or check a friend's update, and suddenly you're looking at a stranger's vacation photos, a celebrity scandal, a political debate, and a tragic news story all within 2 minutes. Your emotions are being pulled in 10 different directions, and your brain is processing an overload of unrelated, emotionally charged information. No wonder you feel tired even though you've done nothing physical. This constant mental overstimulation leaves no space for your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own calm. When you set digital boundaries, you create that space again. You start to notice that you're less anxious, less reactive, and more present in the real world. You start to enjoy moments without feeling the urge to share them instantly. You start having real conversations without being distracted by a buzzing phone. You start sleeping better because your mind isn't going to bed on a diet of chaos. Of course, there will be people who expect instant responses from you. They've gotten used to you being available at all times. When you stop replying immediately, some might be irritated. They might even say things like, "You're always on your phone. Why didn't you answer?" That's when you remember, your peace matters more than their convenience. You are not obligated to be on call for anyone who is not paying your bills, raising your children, or keeping you alive. Your digital life should be a tool, not a master. It should work for you, not drain you. Every time you pick up your phone, you should be making a choice, not following an impulse. Every time you check an app, it should be because it serves a purpose, not because your brain is looking for the next hit of distraction. When you reclaim control over your digital habits, you reclaim a massive portion of your peace. So starting today, ask yourself, how much of my stress, anxiety, and mental fatigue is actually coming from my screen? How much peace could I gain if I stopped letting my phone decide when I think, what I feel, and where my attention goes? You have the power to answer those questions with your actions. Silence what doesn't serve you, unplug when you need to, and remember that a calm mind will never come from a noisy device. Peace belongs to those who protect it, even from the glow of a small screen, protecting your peace from family drama. Family is supposed to be a safe place, a shelter from the storms of life. But for many people, it's the very place where their peace is most threatened. It can be complicated because family bonds run deep. These are the people who raised you, grew up with you, or share your blood. And there's often a sense of duty and loyalty that makes you feel like you must accept everything they do or say. But the truth is, some of the deepest wounds and the biggest drains on your peace can come from family members who have no respect for your emotional boundaries. It could be the relative who always has something negative to say about your choices, the one who criticizes you in the name of just being honest. It could be the sibling who constantly compares your life to theirs, making you feel like you're never doing enough. It could be the parent who uses guilt to control you, reminding you of everything they've done for you whenever you try to make your own decisions. Or it could be the cousin who always brings chaos to every family gathering, dragging you into arguments or gossip that you don't want to be part of. Because it's family, you might tell yourself that you have no choice but to put up with it. You convince yourself that blood is thicker than water, so you swallow your discomfort, stay silent when you're hurt, and keep showing up to situations that drain you. But peace doesn't care about DNA. Peace cares about the energy in the room. And if that energy is toxic, it will rob you no matter who it's coming from. Protecting your peace from family drama starts with understanding that love and boundaries can exist together. Setting boundaries with family doesn't mean you love them less. It means you love yourself enough to not allow their behavior to destroy your well-being. You can care for them without allowing them unlimited access to your time, emotions, and mental space. You can still be part of the family without being part of every fight, every toxic conversation, or every guilt trip. Sometimes, protecting your peace means limiting the time you spend in certain environments. If family gatherings always end in shouting matches or hurt feelings, it's okay to leave early or skip some altogether. You don't have to attend every event just to prove that you care. Sometimes, the healthiest choice is to love certain people from a distance. It also means learning to detach emotionally from situations you can't control. There are family members who will always have the same arguments, the same grudges, the same dysfunctional patterns, no matter how much you try to fix them. And trying to play peacemaker in every conflict will only drain you. You have to accept that some people enjoy living in drama. It's their comfort zone. And if you let them, they'll pull you into it until it becomes yours too. That's why you have to be intentional about deciding which conversations you'll engage in and which ones you'll walk away from. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to know when your peace is more important than winning an argument. You don't have to prove your point to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to keep explaining yourself to relatives who have already decided who you are in their minds. You can simply step back, protect your energy, and choose not to participate in battles that have no end. One of the hardest parts of protecting your peace from family is dealing with the guilt. People might say you've changed. They might say you're acting distant or ungrateful. But change is the point. You're not supposed to stay stuck in the same unhealthy patterns just because you grew up in them. You're supposed to grow, and growth often means doing things differently than you did before. If you've spent years letting family walk all over your boundaries, of course they'll be shocked when you finally stand up for yourself. But their shock is not your problem. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your health, and to the life you're building. You might also have to accept that protecting your peace will reveal the true nature of some family relationships. When you stop being the one who always says yes, who always listens to the drama, who always fixes everything, some people will distance themselves from you. They were never connected to you for who you are. They were connected to what you could do for them. And as painful as that is, it's also freeing, because it shows you who genuinely loves you and who just loves your availability. In the end, family should be a source of support, not a constant battle for your sanity. And while you can't control how they act, you can control how much of it you allow into your space. Your peace is your responsibility, and no one, not even family, has the right to keep taking it from you. It's okay to say, "I love you, but I won't let you treat me this way." It's okay to step away from conversations that turn toxic. It's okay to create distance when being close is damaging to your spirit. Remember, you don't owe anyone unlimited access to your life just because you share a last name. Blood makes you related, but respect, kindness, and trust are what make you family. And if those are missing, the best thing you can do for them and for yourself is to set clear boundaries and protect your peace as if your life depends on it. Because it does. Friendships that heal versus friendships that drain. Friendship is one of the most beautiful gifts life can give you, but it can also be one of the most dangerous threats to your peace if you're not careful about who you let close. A good friend can inspire you, lift you, challenge you, and remind you of your worth when you forget it yourself. But a toxic friend can drain you, use you, and slowly convince you to doubt yourself until you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. The hard truth is that not every friendship is meant to last forever, and not everyone who calls you friend is actually acting like one. Some friendships start out wonderful. You share laughs, secrets, and dreams. You support each other through struggles. But over time, the balance starts to shift. Maybe you notice that you're always the one making the effort to keep in touch. You're the one checking on them, showing up for them, celebrating their wins, comforting them in their lows. But when it's your turn to need support, They're suddenly too busy, distracted, or simply not there. That's not friendship. That's a one-sided arrangement dressed up to look like love. The most dangerous part about draining friendships is that they rarely become toxic overnight. It's usually a slow fade, a gradual shift that you don't notice until you're already deep in it. They start expecting you to be available all the time, but they stop showing up for you. They're there when they need something but disappear when you're the one in need. Sometimes they subtly put you down in the name of joking, but the sting stays with you long after the laugh fades. And little by little, your peace starts slipping away because you're pouring into someone who never pours back. You have to understand that a true friendship is mutual. It's not always perfectly balanced. Sometimes you'll give more. Sometimes they will. But over time, there's a natural give and take. Both people feel seen, valued, and supported. In a healthy friendship, you don't walk away from conversations feeling emotionally exhausted or like you have to recover from the interaction. You feel lighter, inspired, and understood. The tricky part is that history can blind you. Maybe you've known someone for years, and you feel like ending or redefining the friendship would erase all the good memories you've shared. But memories are not enough to sustain a relationship in the present. Just because someone was good for you in the past doesn't mean they're good for you now. People change. Situations change. Sometimes you simply grow in different directions, and holding on too tightly to what the friendship used to be will only cause pain. One of the hardest but most freeing truths you can accept is that outgrowing people is a natural part of life. It doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It just means your paths no longer align, and trying to force them to will only keep you both stuck. Letting go doesn't have to be a dramatic breakup. Sometimes it's just a gentle distancing, speaking less often, being less available, and allowing the friendship to fade without bitterness. Other times, it requires a direct conversation where you express your needs and boundaries. And if those needs aren't respected, you make the choice to step back completely. The friendships that heal you are the ones where you feel safe to be yourself. Messy, imperfect, vulnerable, and honest. They are the ones who celebrate your wins without jealousy and stand by you in your losses without judgment. They are the ones who can tell you the truth when you're wrong, but do it in a way that builds you instead of breaking you. When you leave their presence, you feel more alive, not less. Those friendships deserve your energy, your time, and your loyalty. But the friendships that drain you, the ones that feel like constant emotional labor, the ones where you're always walking on eggshells, the ones where you have to earn their kindness, those are the ones you have to protect yourself from. You can love people from a distance. You can wish them well without keeping them close. You can decide that your peace is too precious to keep sacrificing for someone who wouldn't do the same for you. It's also important to remember that sometimes the draining friend is not malicious. They may simply be in a place where they can't give back what you're giving. In those cases, you can still set limits without cutting them off completely. You can choose to be supportive without letting them consume your energy. You can say, "I can't talk about this right now," or "I don't have the emotional space for this today," and still care about them. Protecting your peace doesn't mean being heartless. It means being wise enough to know your limits. At the end of the day, the friendships you nurture should make you better, not bitter. They should encourage you to grow, not keep you small. They should be a place where your soul feels at home, not a place where you feel like you're constantly proving your worth. Life is too short, and your peace is too valuable to spend on relationships that drain you dry. Surround yourself with people who pour into you the way you pour into them, and watch how your life begins to bloom. The role of solitude in protecting peace. So many people confuse solitude with loneliness, but they are not the same thing. Loneliness is the ache of feeling unwanted or disconnected. Solitude is the strength of choosing to be with yourself because you understand the value of your own company. Loneliness drains you. Solitude restores you. And if you want to protect your peace, you have to learn to embrace solitude as a necessary part of your life. The world we live in makes solitude feel unnatural. We are constantly surrounded by noise, physical noise, digital noise, emotional noise. Even when we're physically alone, we fill the space with music, videos, scrolling, texting. We've become so used to external stimulation that when silence comes, it feels uncomfortable, even threatening. But that discomfort is exactly why solitude is powerful. It forces you to sit with yourself, to hear your own thoughts without anyone else's voice drowning them out. And for many people, that's terrifying because it reveals truths they've been avoiding. When you allow yourself to be alone, truly alone without distractions, something shifts. Your mind starts to settle. The constant mental chatter slows down. You start to notice things you usually overlook: the sound of your own breathing, the way sunlight falls across the floor, the patterns of your thoughts. In solitude, you can hear the quiet whisper of your own intuition, something that's almost impossible to catch when you're surrounded by constant input from other people and devices. That whisper can guide you, warn you, and reassure you in ways that no outside voice can. Solitude is where self-awareness is born. It's where you get to ask yourself the questions that matter. What do I really want? What do I need right now? What am I doing out of habit that no longer serves me? What am I avoiding that I need to face? Without solitude, you're just reacting to life as it comes. With solitude, you're able to step back, see the bigger picture, and make choices that align with your peace instead of your fears. Spending time alone doesn't mean you have to sit in total silence for hours. It can be as simple as taking a walk without headphones, eating a meal without checking your phone, or setting aside 10 minutes each morning to just breathe and reflect. It can mean journaling, meditating, reading, praying, or simply sitting and thinking. The point is not to fill the time with more noise, but to allow space for your mind and soul to breathe. When you make solitude a habit, you'll start to notice changes. You'll find that you're less reactive to other people's moods and dramas because you've built a strong connection with yourself. You'll be able to make decisions more confidently because you've taken the time to listen to your own inner voice. You'll be less dependent on constant validation or company because you've learned that your worth isn't determined by how many people are around you. Some people will misunderstand your desire for solitude. They might think you're isolating yourself, avoiding people, or becoming cold. But solitude is not about shutting people out. It's about making sure that when you let people in, you're doing it from a place of fullness, not depletion. You can't pour into others if you're empty. And solitude is one of the most reliable ways to refill your own cup. In fact, solitude can even make your relationships healthier. When you spend time alone, you gain clarity about what you truly need from others and what you can give without resentment. You start to recognize which relationships are feeding you and which are just filling space. And because you're no longer afraid of being alone, you're less likely to tolerate toxic connections just for the sake of company. The truth is, many people are terrified of solitude because it forces them to face themselves. It removes the distractions that keep them from seeing their own patterns, their own wounds, and their own responsibilities. But facing yourself is the very thing that sets you free. It's in solitude that you can finally drop the masks you wear for the world and just be. No performance, no pressure, just you. If you want to protect your peace, you have to make peace with being alone sometimes. You have to see solitude not as a punishment, but as a gift. It's the time when you can reset your mind, reconnect with your values, and remember who you are outside of all the noise. Without it, you risk losing yourself in the demands, opinions, and chaos of others. With it, you build an unshakable foundation that no one can take from you. So start small. Give yourself moments of stillness each day. Learn to enjoy your own company. Let solitude become your sanctuary, the place you retreat to when life gets loud and overwhelming. Protect it the same way you'd protect your most valuable possession, because in many ways, it is. In the quiet, you'll find strength. In the stillness, you'll find clarity. And in your own presence, you'll find the peace you've been searching for all along. Guarding your peace in the workplace. For many people, the workplace is where their peace is tested the most. It's not because they hate their job, but because they are surrounded by different personalities, expectations, and pressures every single day. You can love what you do and still find yourself emotionally drained by the end of the week. And if you're not careful, work stress can follow you home, seep into your relationships, affect your sleep, and chip away at your mental and emotional well-being. That's why protecting your peace in the workplace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. The first thing to understand is that work will always have challenges. Deadlines will come. Mistakes will happen. People will disagree. That's normal. But the real danger to your peace is not the work itself. It's how you respond to the environment around you. Some people thrive on stress and chaos. They turn every small issue into a crisis, and they want everyone around them to feel the urgency and anxiety they feel. If you're not intentional, you can easily get caught up in that energy. You start rushing when there's no need to rush. You start panicking over things that aren't even your responsibility. You start letting someone else's emotional instability dictate your own mood. Guarding your peace at work means learning to separate what is urgent from what is simply loud. Some problems truly require your immediate attention, but many do not. You have to be able to pause and ask yourself, is this my responsibility? Is this worth my mental energy right now? Without that pause, you'll end up running around reacting to every noise instead of focusing on the things that actually matter. It also means setting clear boundaries with colleagues. Not every coworker is your friend, and not every workplace conversation is worth engaging in. Gossip, complaining, and constant negativity are like poison in the air. The more you breathe it in, the worse you feel. You can be polite without participating. You can excuse yourself from conversations that drain you. You can choose to keep certain topics off limits at work, especially ones that invite conflict or unnecessary stress. Another key part of protecting your peace at work is learning to leave work at work. Too many people carry their job home with them, not physically, but mentally. They replay difficult conversations with their boss in their head. They think about unfinished tasks while trying to relax with family. They check work emails at midnight because they're afraid of missing something. Before they know it, there is no separation between their personal life and their job. If you want lasting peace, you have to create that separation. When the workday ends, let it end. Unless you're on call or dealing with a true emergency, the emails can wait. The meetings can wait. Your rest cannot. Sometimes protecting your peace also means speaking up when something isn't right. That could be asking for clarity on expectations, so you're not overextending yourself. It could be requesting a more manageable workload. It could be addressing conflicts directly, instead of letting them fester. Silence might feel easier in the moment, but unspoken frustration builds pressure that will eventually explode, and in the meantime, it quietly eats away at your peace. If your workplace is particularly toxic, where disrespect, overwork, or emotional manipulation are part of the culture, then the biggest act of self-protection might be planning your exit. Staying in an environment that consistently damages your mental and emotional health is not noble, it's dangerous. Your peace, your health, and your sense of self-worth are worth more than any paycheck. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to step away from the wrong environment so you can thrive in the right one. That doesn't mean you quit at the first sign of difficulty. Every job will have its rough moments, and part of protecting your peace is learning resilience. But resilience doesn't mean tolerating abuse or constant burnout. It means developing the skills to handle challenges, while also knowing when enough is enough. Guarding your peace at work is really about control, not control over other people, but control over yourself. You can't decide how your boss will act. You can't control how your colleagues speak. You can't even control whether every project goes perfectly. But you can control your reactions. You can decide not to take the bait when someone tries to provoke you. You can decide to step away from your desk for a few minutes to reset when the pressure is high. You can decide to manage your time in a way that allows you to work efficiently without running yourself into the ground. The workplace is one of the main places where people lose themselves, because the demands can be so relentless. But when you remember that your peace is not up for negotiation, you start making different choices. You stop saying yes to every request just to be seen as a team player. You stop engaging in drama just to feel included. You stop measuring your worth by how busy you are or how much you can endure. You start realizing that the quality of your work is not just about skill, it's also about the mental state you bring to it. And a peaceful mind will always produce better results than a stressed, scattered one. So guard your peace at work with the same commitment you guarded at home. Set limits. Manage your reactions. Protect your time. And most importantly, remember that no job, no position, no salary is worth sacrificing your mental health. You can earn money in many ways, but you only get one mind, one heart, one life. Make sure the way you work leaves room for you to truly live. The daily discipline of peace. Peace is not something you stumble upon by accident. It's not something you experience once and then keep forever without effort. Peace is a daily decision, a habit, a discipline. If you want it to last, you have to protect it like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. And the truth is, it doesn't take one big act to guard your peace. It takes small, intentional choices repeated every single day. When you wake up in the morning, before you even speak to anyone, before you check your phone, you are already setting the tone for your day. If the first thing you do is reach for your device, you are opening the door for the world to decide how you feel. If the first thing you do is think about yesterday's mistakes or today's stress, you are handing your peace over before the day even begins. But if you start your morning with something that grounds you, prayer, meditation, deep breathing, gratitude, you are building a wall of calm that will help you face whatever comes next. Discipline in protecting your peace means you check yourself throughout the day. You ask, how am I feeling right now? Am I tense? Am I anxious? Am I carrying something that isn't mine? And if you notice your peace slipping, you take a moment to reset before it's gone completely. That could be stepping outside for fresh air, taking a few minutes to stretch and breathe, or simply reminding yourself that not everything deserves your reaction. Protecting your peace daily also means keeping your boundaries active. Boundaries are not something you set once and forget. People will test them. Situations will tempt you to drop them. Guilt will whisper that you're being too rigid. But the more consistent you are, the more natural it becomes to say no when you need to walk away when it's necessary, and to keep toxic influences at a distance. It's also about what you allow into your mind each day. The books you read, the shows you watch, the conversations you engage in, the music you listen to, they all feed your inner world. If you consume negativity constantly, you will carry negativity constantly. If you surround yourself with drama, you will start to feel like you live in one. Being disciplined with your peace means choosing inputs that nourish you instead of depleting you. Another part of this daily discipline is knowing how to end your day well. Too many people carry the stress of the day into their sleep. They lie in bed replaying arguments, worrying about things they can't control, or mentally running through tomorrow's to-do list. That's not rest, that's mental overload. Ending your day with peace might mean writing down the things you're grateful for, releasing any lingering tension through prayer or meditation, or simply deciding to let go of anything that's outside your control for the night. And here's a truth that will change your life. Protecting your peace isn't just about keeping the bad out, it's also about letting the good in. It's about making time for joy, laughter, and rest without feeling guilty. It's about creating moments in your day where you feel alive and connected to what matters most. You don't have to wait for a vacation or a special occasion to feel peaceful. You can create it every day in the small things, a cup of tea in the quiet, a short walk under the sun, a conversation with someone who makes you feel seen. Over time, this daily discipline becomes second nature. You'll find that you no longer have to fight as hard to protect your peace because you've built a life that naturally supports it. The wrong people will have drifted away, the right habits will be in place, and your inner world will be stronger. That doesn't mean challenges won't come, they will. But you'll be ready. You'll be so rooted in calm that chaos will have to fight harder to reach you. Peace is not a reward for when everything in your life is perfect. Peace is the foundation that allows you to handle life when it isn't. And when you treat it as a discipline, something you actively choose and defend every day, you stop waiting for the world to give it to you. You create it yourself. You own it. And you keep it, not by accident, but on purpose. So as you move forward, remember this. You owe no one unlimited access to your life. Your peace is your home. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because in every way that matters, it truly does. Finally, we've journeyed through every layer of protecting your peace, closing the quiet leaks that drain you, saying no without guilt, guarding your mind from emotional trespassers, setting firm boundaries with family, choosing friendships that heal, embracing the gift of solitude, controlling your digital life, keeping your calm in the workplace, and practicing the daily discipline that makes peace a way of life. If there's one thing I want you to carry from this, it's that peace will not just show up at your doorstep. You must claim it, build it, and defend it. The world will test you. People will challenge you. Even your own old habits will try to pull you back. But you always have a choice. You can react to the chaos, or you can protect your calm. You can let life drain you, or you can set boundaries and live with intention. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's survival. It's wisdom. It's love. Love for yourself. Love for the people you serve best when you're whole. Love for the life you're creating. When you guard your peace, you guard your mind, your health, your joy, and your future. That is worth fighting for every single day. So from this day forward, no more apologizing for your boundaries. No more feeling guilty for walking away from what drains you. No more tolerating what steals your joy. Your peace is your power. Your peace is your wealth. Your peace is your home. Protect it ruthlessly because your life depends on it. If this message has inspired you, I want you to do two things. Live it and share it. Let this be the day you stop wishing for peace and start creating it in every choice, every conversation, every moment. And for more powerful words like this, make sure you subscribe to Motivational Dose, your daily reminder to live stronger, think clearer, and protect what truly matters. Thank you for listening. Stay strong, stay grounded, and until we meet again, God bless you.